Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Acupuncture is My Life. Now, I take it when I discuss symptoms relative to different types of cancers, the lung cancer symptom must have gotten to quite a few of you where you wanted me to expand on different types of coughs. And I can understand that because some of you have indicated, interesting. From Nigeria, South Africa, Japan, India, the Netherlands, Spain, France, UK, Canada, Colombia, South America, and a few in the United States. I didn't expect such a response in such large numbers relative to one particular symptom via the messaging aspect of the app. And this is why I say so many times, if you don't already have the app, if you use Android, just go to the Google Play Store, download it, it's free. Or if you're an iPhone person, just go to the Apple Store and download it, it's free. But with regard to coughs, there's generally 4 types of coughs, okay? And I'll even start with, let's say, dry cough. Because some of you guys complained, what about a dry cough? Is that a sign of lung cancer? And basically it presents as a cough with no form of congestion or mucus to expectorate. And when it's excessive, it can cause your chest to feel sore throat. It can irritate your airways. And a dry cough can be tied to quite a few health issues, such as heartburn, let's say sinusitis, sore throat, asthma, and that's just to name a few from a Western medicine perspective. Just like a dry cough can be tied to several different types of patterns to an acupuncturist, it can also be due to emotional stress, but not always though, not always. Or even an individual who's been affected by, let's say, a wind heat type of pathogen. Because I say in so many of my YouTube videos as well as podcasts that wind is an exterior pathogen that carries many different types of diseases with it, from viral to bacterial. It carries many types of diseases. So an acupuncturist, or if you've been affected by an exterior pathogenic factor, it's usually tied, more times than not always, to wind. Because you may hear your grandparents have said, once in a blue in your life, when you go out, it's windy or it's cold, where's your scarf, button up, make sure you're properly covered. Even if it's warm outside, but it's extremely windy, because our grandparents also knew that wind carries diseases. And you could say, I went out and let's just use the common cold. I went out and I went to the store and came back and apparently I caught a cold. Why? Because this viral pathogen cannot move throughout the air without wind. And that's where you'll hear an acupuncturist reference many exterior pathogenic factors as wind heat, wind cold, wind damp, because you've been affected by an external disorder that was carried through the wind. So in this case, a dry cough can be as a result of a wind heat pathogen. Can be. Another type of cough is wet cough. And this type of cough generally is productive because why? There's mucus. There's congestion and your lungs are attempting to expectorate it. And many times, not all times, but many times, a wet cough is a sign that there's an infection in your lungs. It could be bronchitis, it could be pneumonia, it could be the flu. But it doesn't always have to be a serious infection. You could get a chest cold, you know. But it can be due to an underlying condition such as COPD, emphysema, asthma. Well, emphysema is grouped in COPD. Asthma. But to an acupuncturist, this generally indicates the presence of phlegm and heat in the lungs more times than not. Not speaking in absolute terms. Why? Because an acupuncturist has to see you and assess you. Can't be assessed based on symptoms over a podcast or television or whatever. A lot of times you can watch television or see some type of commercial on the internet and, oh, if you have these symptoms, then that means you have this. Don't follow that. And this is why I say see an acupuncturist, because you could present with symptoms that's totally irrelevant to what you're being told from a commercial perspective. Now, an uncontrollable cough, where when I say uncontrollable, you're having a coughing fit and you're not bringing anything up. It can really tax you, really taxing, where you're just exhausted. And your diaphragm, it can be so bad where your diaphragm can begin spazzing. And it can even cause you to vomit because you're coughing that hard. From a Western medicine perspective, this can be like what? Whooping cough? Can be. Asthma, COPD, pneumonia. They can also cause an uncontrollable cough as well. You see, this is why I say over and over, see an acupuncturist. Because what's going on with the chi of the lungs, or the yin aspect of your lungs, or the yang aspect of your lungs? Because I speak over and over. It's about yin and yang being in balance so that the body can self-regulate and chi and blood can flow throughout the body harmoniously. Because when that's happening, the body can heal itself. In Western terms, it's called homeostasis. And I say this over and over, see a physician once, maybe twice a year, if you have to. So you can, get in Western medicine perspective as to what's going on with you. But definitely see your acupuncturist or an acupuncturist for regular wellness visits. Because you have to find out what's causing this cough to really, really be out of control. Because I say it over and over, health is wealth. The wealth isn't in the bank. It's not in your pocket. It's not in your purse. It's not in a safe. It's not under the mattress. It's not in the shoebox in the closet. It's not under the doghouse in the backyard. It's in you. And if you control this wealth, you control the ability to go and see a physician, as well as going to see an acupuncturist on a regular basis. And I'll get those and say, well, I don't have time for regular basis. What does regular basis mean to you? I'll ask some in chat sessions. And some mistakenly interpret it as going every day, every other day, or every week. No, you sit with your acupuncturist and you determine that. Because I treat individuals on a seasonal basis to prepare them at the beginning, the first day of a new season. Love doing abdominal acupuncture to regulate their body in preparation for the coming season. and I'm not even really going to elaborate on that, you have to see an acupuncturist or contact Acupuncturist My Life to really get to understand that. But there are those 4 times a year, the beginning, the first day of every season, they'll come into the Acupuncturist My Life clinic here in New York City. Okay, acupuncture is awesome. It treats so many disorders. Helps you manage disorders that can't be cured. And serves well as an adjunct to Western medicine in many cases, especially cancer, treating cancer patients. But let me not digress too much. Another type of cough is barking cough. We're all familiar with that. It's like loud and it's wet. Now, to an acupuncturist, that can be a sign of an excess pattern. Because overall, to an acupuncturist, a weak sounding cough indicates a potential deficient pattern. There's deficiency somewhere. Whether it's just in the lung meridian or an accompanying meridian of the lung, it's somewhere. But there's a deficiency pattern that an acupuncturist has to figure out. Now, a loud sounding cough generally indicates an excess pattern. There's too much of something because of, I don't know, let's say stagnation, some static buildup somewhere in the body. I'm just being real vague. Now, listen to this. An individual who tends to cough a lot, let's say in the late afternoon and evening, to an acupuncturist, more times than not, because I never use absolutes, this can be a sign of yin deficiency. What does that mean? Yin and yang is out of balance and yin is deficient. And usually when yin is deficient, now there's heat. Why? Because yin and yang counterbalance each other. They cannot exist without the other. Yin is cold, yang is hot. So when you balance cold and hot, what do you have? You have warm. But yin being cold, when it becomes deficient, that means your yang, which is hot, it can stay the same. Never doesn't mean it's excess or deficient. It stays the same, but now there's more heat than cold now. And acupuncturists understand this is a sign of yin deficiency. This is why I say download the app so you can watch the Acupuncturist My Life YouTube channel and understand the functions of the internal organs, the patterns that can affect it, briefing on yin and yang, qi and blood, all of that. Download the app. You can watch it on your phone. Or if you have YouTube on your television, you can watch it there too. Now, what can be the cause of a barking cough? That can be a sign of respiratory infection. Let's say whooping cough again, but some type of respiratory infection to an acupuncturist. Again, like I said, a barking cough tends to indicate the presence of heat in the lungs, where there could not only be a barking cough, but it can be accompanied by chest pain, breathlessness, fever, thirst, sweating, restlessness. Understand something. There's a reason why I say you must make acupuncture a part of your life. Because acupuncture is my life. What's yours?